Mama, you're going to tell us about the Mann family in relation to our family.
Right. The Mann family, Grandma Emma and her husband, Mr. Mann, died at 40 years old. He was lost at sea, and he left behind 5 daughters and a son. And these children were raised by Grandpa John Tui, a Tongan, who Grandma Emma married. Grandma Emma is a sister to my grandmother, Ellen. Ellen married Oldehaver. Now these sisters were very, very close, and they were supportive to each other in everything.
Emma and
Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen, my grandmother, Emma, Elizabeth, and all the Wetzel's grandmother. They were sisters.
Mm-hmm.
In the early 1920s, the Oldehavers took off to Apia so they could get their boys educated by the Marist Brothers school, which had started there in the early 1900s in Samoa.
Mm.
A few years later, the sister, I called her Grandma Emma, and her husband, John Tui, a Tongan, her second husband, who is now stepfather to all these beautiful white girls, and their brother George.
Mm.
They also joined them in Apia, and they all lived in Apia in rented place, because these men were palangis and they were not allowed to buy land and homes in Samoa, so they had to rent. And they survived and supported one another all the time. There were palangis and Tongans. There was no Samoan blood in any of them.
Mm.
So I can imagine life was very difficult and hard for them, but they survived. They pulled through. They got their children educated, and they supported one another in every way.
Yes.
But it must have been quite unusual to see all these very white children from both women running around Apia and Tonga as little children amongst the islanders. But I do believe that they were loved and cared for by their Tongan relatives. They're very supportive to them.
Mm.
So that's the early start of the Oldehaver family and the Mann family in Apia.
Mm.
But it's credit to lovely man John Tui, who is Auntie Whakalelu's father, and Auntie Whakalelu married my uncle, who is Emil Oldehaver's parents.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Thank you, Mama.
It's just a little bit of a history about my grandmother and my grandma Emma, who was a real grandmother to me, because my own grandma Ellen had died before I was born. So her sister, Grandma Emma, was a wonderful secondary grandmother to me. We always called her Grandma.
Surrogate grandmother.
Yeah, surrogate grandmother, and she was wonderful. She loved children. No matter who they are, she loved them. She even adopted children. Yeah, like Duki and Flora. They were adopted by Grandma Emma.
Okay.
Yeah, she was wonderful. Loved children. I always felt very close to her as a little child. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Mama.
You're welcome.